Hello, students. I extend my heartiest welcome to you all to today's session that is based on rectification of errors. So, topic would be covered today rectification of errors. So, first of all, you should be familiar with the errors, what kind of the errors we are talking about. So, already I have discussed with you that there are different kinds of the errors in my previous lecture. That when you are going to enter the journal entries or you are posting the journal entries into the books of accounting, there are number of errors, and these errors if left in the accounting books, so you will find that the trial balance doesn't match. So in order to give the accuracy to your accounting, there should be no error. It means you should avoid the errors. So if there is no possibility, already errors exist in your books of accounting, so what is the solution you have, or what is the option with you that to rectify the errors? So today we are talking about rectification of errors. It means to remove the errors or to rectify the errors. So there are different methods of rectifying errors, right? The very first is before preparation of trial balance. So how will you correct the correcting journal entry? If any error is discovered before the trial balance is prepared, it means when you are going to prepare the trial balance at the end of the year and you find there is a particular error, so simple journal entry is made to correct the mistake or to rectify the error. But in the case where you find the errors after preparation of the trial balance, but before the final accounts, it means you are going to prepare your financial statement, but before that, you find some errors are there. So you have to prepare the suspense account, and through suspense account, you will try to identify the error. And if the errors are found out or located, that time you have to adjust the suspense account. So there would be a particular role of the suspense account in rectifying the errors. Okay, so there is a particular condition that at what stage we are trying to find out the error, to locate the error and to rectify the errors. So before preparation of the trial balance or after preparation of the trial balance, but before final accounts. Okay, sometimes after preparation of final accounts, already you have prepared the final accounts and rectification is required. So in that case, the particular time period is, it means the errors are corrected in the next accounting period. Okay, so there are three cases as I told you, that before preparation of the trial balance, and second one is the after preparation of trial balance but before final accounts, and after preparation of final accounts you have to correct the errors in the next accounting period. Okay, so practically how to remove those errors, how to rectify these errors, we would be making the rectified entries, and there would be a particular format. Okay, so let's come to the excel sheet so that we can solve the numerical question. So as you see that in this particular question there are different business transactions. Okay, so whenever there are number of transactions you have to post in the accounting books, you see that sometimes a particular transaction, because as per the double entry system or the accounting rules, you have to make a particular account debit and another side you have to make it credit. But what happens that in a different accounts, if you are entering the particular entry or you are posting that transaction in the books differently, okay, or sometimes you find that there is an error in the amount. So how to correct them? First of all, you have to identify that what kind of the transaction exists over there, and second, what type of the error is there. Okay, so this is the first transaction. As you see that an office table purchase for rupees 5,000 has been passed through invoice book. Invoice book, it means you are going to enter into the purchase book, okay, through invoice, through bills. So as per the voucher, no doubt you are entering the transaction in the books, but you have to focus that what particular head of the account should be open there, or a particular entry is made in which account. Okay, you have to pay attention over there. So this transaction is related to the particular furniture. Okay, office table is purchased, it means what comes in the tangible asset we are talking about. So office table in the form of the purchase you are buying, so that time what comes in as per the rule, you have to make it this particular account debit. But you find that in the invoice book it was posed. So how to correct it? Okay, so first column is the correct entry, so you have to make this one, office furniture account debit. Okay, and what goes out, it is the cash, or if the bank, right, if the check is mentioned in your transaction, that time you have to make bank account credit, but in this case we assume that the cash is going outside the organization, so you have to mention here the cash account. Okay, to cash account. And what about the amount? That is 5,000 rupees, 5,000. And now we have to consider the wrong entry, because this particular entry related to furniture purchase. Okay, so this is not the purchase, because if you are buying the goods for the resale purpose, that is known as the purchase, but it is the asset. Okay, and asset should be displayed in the balance sheet in the asset side, so this is to be debited. But as per the case, the invoice book was used. It means you have to assume the wrong entry was posted in the book, that the purchase account debit to cash account. Purchase account debit to cash account. And the amount was written 5,000. Okay, there was no any error in the amount. So the amount was written 5,000. Now you have to rectify this entry. As you see that office furniture should have been debited by rupees 5,000, but you did not enter this entry. You did not make this office furniture account debited over there. So you have to make this entry office furniture account debit. Okay. So office furniture account debit, and because the purchase account wrongly was debited, now you have to make it corrected by taking this account to the credit. Okay, so to purchase account, and the amount was rupees 5,000, rupees 5,000. So this is the rectified entry. Okay, office furniture should be debited. So you made this entry that office furniture account debit rupees 5,000, and purchase account which was not to be debited, now you have to correct it. So purchase account should be credited over there. And the second transaction is rupees 1,000 received from X has been credited to R account. Okay, so correct entry you have to focus first. If you are receiving rupees 1,000 from X, so as per the rules of double entry, right, you have to make this entry that cash account debit to Mr. X of X. So cash account debit rupees 1,000, and you are receiving this particular amount from X, so you have to mention here to X rupees 1,000. And now you have to make the wrong entry. You have to assume that it was wrongly posted, so it was credited to our account, right? It means a single account was observed or was wrongly credited. Okay, so we have to assume that there was no error made in the cash account, because we are talking about the account only. There is no mention any book. If there is a particular term book, right, so you have to assume that both the side you are making the error, but in this case, because only the R account is credited, so you have to assume that the cash account was not mistaken over there, so you have to make the R account as a credit and cash account was debited. So you have to write here that cash account debit, cash account debit rupees 1,000, and you see that to R account or to R, right, rupees 1,000. And what should be the rectified entry? If you say that cash account should be debited because the correct entry was the cash account debit, so it would be wrong, because already you have entered in the cash account rupees 1,000, and again if you in order to rectify the entry, you post this cash account debited by rupees 1,000, so it would be increased by 1,000, and there would be 2000 balance in the cash account, so it would be wrong. So this is the particular solution, that you have not to touch this particular cash account because it was already posted, right? Now you have to consider that the x account was to be written right in the credit side, so you have to make this account credit, but our account was wrongly credited, so in order to rectify it you have to make it debit. Okay, so our account or our debit by rupees 1000, right, and 2x rupees 1000. I think there is no any doubt. Now come to the third transaction, that is one rupees 600 paid as cartage for newly purchased furniture. Okay, you are buying the furniture, and you have to keep in your mind that if some assets are purchased and any expenses occurred over there, so you have to add that particular cost in the cost of assets. So if the cartage for newly purchased furniture is given to you and it was wrongly posted to cartage account, so you have to consider that this is the cost of the furniture and you should include in the cost of furniture, right? So you have to make the correct entry, that is furniture account debit, and the amount is given to you rupees 600, and to cash account rupees 600. Okay, and the wrong entry, it means it was posted to cartage account, that was not to be considered. The cartage account should not be considered for this particular balance, the debit balance, because the cartage was added, that was increasing the cost of the furniture. You have to include this cost in the cost of assets, right? So cartage account was debited, so you have to make this entry, cartage account debit, and to cash account. Okay, and what is the amount? The amount was not mistaken. Okay, so purchase account debit rupees 600, and you have to enter this amount in the cash account rupees 600. And now the time is to rectify this entry, because the furniture account was to be debited but you did not make it debit, so this is the time to correct it. Furniture account debit rupees 600, and now in order to correct this cartage account, because you are not permitted to make any cutting in your books of accounting, so that time you have to go for crediting this account, right? Because already it was debit, and now to cancel this particular expense in the form of cartage, so you have to make this account credit by rupees 600, and to cartage account rupees 600. So it is very easy to develop the understanding of this particular topic, that is rectification of errors. But you have to keep in your mind that correct wrong entries first you have to make, and after that, on the basis of these entries, it would be convenient for you that you rectify your errors. Okay. Now the next transaction is sales of rupees 200 to Manoj, who are recorded as rupees 2000 in sales book. So Manoj, you are selling the goods to this particular party in the name of the Manoj, and it was recorded that 2000 in the sales book. As the book word or the term is given to you in the question, as I already told you, that when the book is given to you, it means both sides are affected by this particular transaction. So as you are selling the goods to Manoj, so what correct entry should be made over there? Manoj should be debit over there, right? By rupees 200, and to sales account, because the income is given to you and all the incomes are credited sales account, right? And what about the amount? 200. And at it was recorded, right, 2000 in the sales book. It means the mistake was made, right? Error took place in the book, okay, in the both side, debit and credit. So the entry was not made as a error, but the amount was wrongly posted. Okay, so exactly what is the particular wrong entry which was made in the books? That Manoj debit rupees 2000, and to sales account that is rupees 2000. Okay, now you have to rectify this particular entry. So Manoj was to be debited and you made Manoj debit, but you see that you observe that 2000 instead of 200 was written over there, so you have to correct this. So exactly what is the solution you have? Sales account debit by rupees 1800 and to Manoj 1800. Okay, let's have the understanding of this particular rectification, that the correct entry was Manoj debit by rupees 200 to sales account. It means you have to assume that this particular entry should have been made in the books of accounting, but exactly what happened, that Manoj was debited by rupees 2000. It means in excess of 1800 you posted this entry and sales account was increased by 1800. It means you are writing 2000. So in order to rectify, you have to make sales account debit, so that the amount is adjusted by making the debit, because already there was an amount of rupees 2000 in the credit side, so you have to make it debit by 1800, right? So already the 200 rupees was left over there in the credit side of sales account, and Manoj account, as you see that Manoj was debited by rupees 2000, right, in place of rupees 200. So Manoj account was in excess. Okay, you were increasing the balance of Manoj, so you have to correct it by crediting this party in the account. So 1800 was rupees, 1800 rupees should be written over there in the credit side. Okay, so that was the particular correction. And the next transaction is that bill for rupees 820 receipt from Ramesh for repair to machinery was entered in the purchase book. Okay, you are receiving a bill. You are receiving a bill from Ramesh for repair to machinery. It means, what is the transaction? First of all, you should develop the understanding of the business transaction in order to make the correct entry, because if you are making an error at right now in the correct column, so what could happen, that already there was an error in the books and you are repeating the error. Okay, so in order to avoid that, you should make the understanding of the business transaction. So exactly you should read two times minimum in order to avoid such kind of the errors. So what happens, that bill for rupees 820 received from Ramesh for repair to machinery. Okay, so you are receiving a bill from Ramesh for the repair to machinery. It was the repair to machinery was done over there. So that is an expenses. You should mention as an expenses repair to machinery account debit. Okay, not a particular asset account or not any purchase account. Okay, so repair to machinery account should be debit, and you are receiving this bill right now, but there is no a particular case of the cash you are not giving right now. It is the case of due outstanding. So repair to machinery account should be debit, and you are receiving, or you are receiving this service from Ramesh, so Ramesh should be mentioned over there in the credit side. Okay, so repair to machinery account debit rupees 820 and to Ramesh. Okay, rupees 820, and you see that this was entered in purchase book as rupees 720. Okay, so if you see that there was a case of expenses and you should have written over there 820 in the account of repair to machinery account as treating expenses, but you entered wrongly in the purchase book. It means you thought that the purchase was made over there in your business organization. So if there would be the entry of purchase, so wrong entry was made, that purchase account debit rupees 820, and who you are going to buy the goods from, there is a party name is given to you Ramesh, so it is assumed that the Ramesh account was credited, right? So you have to mention to Ramesh, right? And okay, one thing else that you have to pay attention towards the amount also. The amount was wrongly entered in the books, right? 720. So now you have to compare that exactly there should be a particular entry, the correct entry, repair to machinery account debit by 820 to Ramesh 820. Okay. But you are making this particular entry in the books of purchase, right? So there was an amount that 820. Okay. You are writing in the purchase account, but you see that the book word is given to you. So entry was wrongly debited also in the purchase account. It was made that 720 rupees. So what should be the rectification? No doubt. Repair to machinery account should have been debited. Okay. So you have to make this account now debited. Repair to machinery account by rupees 820. Okay. And purchase account which was made by 720. So you have to correct it by writing in the credit side to purchase account. And what was the amount? Rupees 720. Okay. And the Ramesh, okay, Ramesh was written 720 in place of 820. Okay, so exactly what is the difference? How much difference is there, right? So there is a difference of rupees 800. So the Ramesh account was decreased by rupees 800. Okay, so you have to make it credit again. So to Ramesh, okay, to Ramesh rupees 100. So as you try to tally it, you find that to purchase account, right? Purchase account is credited by 720 and Ramesh by 800. So if you take the total, you find that 820 rupees, which was to be debited, right? Repair to the machinery account. So this is the rectification of this particular error. And now we come to next transaction, that is the purchase book was undercast. As I told you that there are three methods. It means if any transaction is related to undercast or overcast, so you have to assume that the trial balance was already prepared, and after that you locate a particular error in your books of accounting. So how will you correct it? First of all, you have to think that the suspense account would be used over there, so there is no need, right, to make the correct entry here, right? So I you have to just leave it. And okay, we are just leaving this column blank, and again there was it was undercast, so you have to correct it directly. So purchase book was undercast. It means the purchase account should have been debited by rupees 1000 by more, right? But you see that it was undercast. It means you are reducing the purchase book balance. Okay, so you have to make it debit now. Okay, because the balance of the purchase is treated as a debit, right? So or you can apply the particular rule what comes in, because whenever you are writing the purchase, you are entering any entry, any transaction in the purchase book, you have to make it debit side. Okay, so what comes in particular rule is applied over there. So purchase account should be debited. So purchase account debit by rupees 1000. And because no any other head is given to you, no any, you have not to treat any party, any creditor, right? You have to apply the rule of the suspense account, because it is assumed, as I told you earlier, that whenever the trial balance is prepared and after that the particular error is located, so in this case you have to make the suspense account debit or credit. In this transaction already you have make a particular account, that is the purchase account debited, so you have to fill this credit account, that is to suspense account. Okay, to suspense account rupees 1000. I think you have understanding of this particular correction. Okay. Once again, I am repeating this, that if any transaction is taking place in your organization and after preparation of the trial balance, you locate any error, that the error exists in the books, any account was undercast or overcast. So in this case, you have to apply this particular method, that suspense account would be open over there, right? And after locating the error, the suspense account would be adjusted over there in the books of accounting. But right now you have to make this rectified entry by using the suspense account. And because the purchase book should have the balance in the debit side by rupees 1000. So you make or you have to fill this particular suspense account in the credit side rupees 1000. Okay. And next transaction is the sales book was overcast. Okay. So again, this is the case of the overcast. It means again you have to use the suspense account, and sales book was credited in Axis. So that time you have to make it debit because you have to go for correction. So sales account should be debit over there. Sales account debit rupees 300, and to suspense account rupees 300. Okay. So there is a particular transaction, and the next or new transaction is rupees 500 received from Raju. Okay, you are receiving a particular amount from any party. The name is given to you. Mr. Raju is there, and it was posted to debit of his account. Okay, so first of all, you have to make the correct entry, and you are receiving the amount from Raju. So what comes in is to be debited. So cash account should be debited over there, right? There is no doubt that you have to make this cash account debit, and because you are receiving, the giver in this part in this particular transaction is Mr. Raju, so you have to make Raju account credited. Okay, so cash account debit rupees 500, and you are receiving this amount from to Raju, right? Rupees 500. So there should be this correct entry, and you are posting to the debit of his account. So as I told you that when the book is given to you, the particular term you have to focus on, account is given to you in the transaction or the book is given to you in the transaction. If the book is given to you in the transaction, that time you have to think that both the side you are making the error, but a specific account is given to you. It means the Raju account was mistakenly over there. So you have to think that Raju account is wrongly posted. Okay, so you have to make this particular entry that that was the wrong entry. So Raju were posted to debit of his account. So Raju debit, right, by rupees 500, and right, and the cash account was intact. It means there was no effect on the cash account. Cash account debit rupees 500. Now this is the question that what was entered in the credit side of the entry or any account. It is not compulsory, right? So maybe there was no any entry in the credit side. Okay, so there was no entry in the credit side. Now you have to correct it, you have to rectify it. Okay, so cash account should be debited, but wrongly you posted in the credit side. Okay, or debit side. Okay, it was intact, it was not written in the credit side. So already you made the cash account debit, so you don't need to enter this particular amount because the cash account was posted by rupees 500. So there is no need to again enter any amount in the cash account. But what happened that Raju should have been credited by rupees 500, and you posted the entry in the debit side of Raju. So you have to make this account credit, okay, to Raju, but focus on the amount, and it should be written over there 1000 because the effect of wrong entry should be avoided, should be removed. So how will you remove the effect of this particular 500 rupees in the Raju's account? So if you make Raju account credited, so what was debited, what was the amount? 500. So it would be cancelled by 500, and there would be remaining balance in the Raju account rupees 500, right? And now the suspense account would be debited rupees 1000. So it would be adjusted in the suspense account, right? So today we are covering also the particular aspect of the suspense account, and you should be aware that if any entry is there, and through suspense account we have to rectify it, we have to adjust it. So what is the method? Okay, and the next entry is credit sales to Jugnu rupees 7,000 was posted to Karan. Okay, so you have to assume that the sale was made over there to Jugnu. So Jugnu, it is the credit transaction. Jugnu should be debited by rupees 7,000, and the credit sales, because credit sales is there to sales account rupees 7,000, and wrong entry, it was posted to Karan. Okay, we have to focus that the sales account was intact. Sales account was you can assume that sales account was credited right in a correct way. So Jugnu, in place of Jugnu you have to write Karan account or Karan debit, right, by rupees 6,000. Okay, the amount was also written wrong, right? So you have to write here that to sales account, and this was intact, so it was entered by rupees 7,000. And now you have to rectify. Okay, just focus it that the 7,000 should be in the credit side of sales account. Already you posted that particular amount in the specified account, in the sales account, so there is no need to change or to rectify in this particular account, that is sales account. But Jugnu should have been debited, so you have to make it debit now to Jugnu, debit by rupees 7,000, and to sales. No, there is no need to write the sales, but the current was wrongly debited, so you have to make it credit, right? To current, right? 6,000, because the amount was written over there 6,000, and you find a particular difference between both the side, so you have to take it to the suspense account. Another use of suspense account, rupees 1,000. Okay, so this is your rectified entry. And now the last transaction in this question is that advertisement expenses paid rupees 580. Okay, so you are making any expenses, you are making the payment towards expenses in the name of the advertisement. So you should have posted this particular entry in the form that advertisement expenses account debit to cash account by rupees 580. But as you see that it was posted to commission received account. Another type of the mistake you are observing on the screen, that the particular expense was treated as the income, right? So you have to make the first correct entry, and what should it be? That advertisement expenses account debit, and the amount is 580, and because the cash was given or it is assumed to cash account 580, right? And it was treated as an income, as you are receiving the income, but as the account was given you or is given you in the transaction in this particular question. So as I told you that if the book is given to you that both side affected, and account is given to you is the single side affected, so there is a effect on a credit side, right? So you have to mention that, or you have to assume that the cash account was intact, so you can write here that to cash account, okay, rupees 580, there was no any error, but it was written in the commission to commission account, that is rupees 580, and there was no any error was made in the amount side. Okay, now you have to make the rectified entry. So advertisement expenses account should have been debited, but you did not enter this account. Okay, so to advertisement expenses account debit by rupees 580. Okay, and cash account was intact, and you don't need to touch it. But the commission account which was wrongly credited, right, so you have to make it debit. Commission account debit rupees 580, And now what is the solution to the credit side? No doubt you have to again use the suspense account, because there is nothing to write over here, but in order to match the debit and credit side, you need a particular account to be credited or in the debit side. So suspense account, okay? So to suspense account, you have to mention over there that to suspense account. And what about the amount? Because you have to take the total, you have to double this particular amount of rupees 580, right? So 1160, okay? So this is the particular transaction you have to make, and this is the way that you are rectifying the errors. Okay, so this was the particular numerical you can solve. You can develop the understanding that how to rectify the different kinds of the error in the books. Okay, so there is no any difficulty to rectify the errors. First of all, you should go through the transaction given you in the question, in the practical problem, and as you see that there are some transactions, business transactions given to you in the question, and those which are having or existing the errors, right, carrying the errors in itself in the term of account. When we talk about the particular head of the account, so there is a mistake, and if you try that is there any other error, so you will find sometimes that amount is also wrongly debited or credited. So both the perspective you should keep in your mind, that the particular head or particular account was wrongly debited or credited, or and second thing, the amount was correct or the wrong, right? So you have to focus on both the things, and you have to make the correct entry first, then wrong entry, and on the basis of the correct and wrong entry you have to go for rectification of error. So I think today's session will cover this particular rectification of error topic, and now the students are familiar that how to correct the error, how to remove the errors, right? But you have to keep in your mind that, as I told you the method, that before the preparation of trial balance you locating the errors, or after trial balance but before the final accounts you are locating the errors, and on the particular basis you have to apply the rules to rectify the errors, okay? Right, methods of rectifying errors. And thank you very much for the day. Thank you.